Orale. 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 What's up, everybody? This is Jose Trujillo, the world's greatest living artist. You're about to witness me make one of my most awesomest creations. I'm going to start out with a landscape today. This is an 18 by 24 inches painting. Let's just see how it's done, son. Look at that. Let me wave. Consider yourself being waved. You're being waved at. Waved. What's happening, Jay? What's happening? What's happening, my friends? My friends are so depressed. Feel the question of loneliness. Look at that. Is that good or what? Is this Coolio or what? I like how people on YouTube are saying that Sonic is really annoying. They're like, that dog is so annoying. And I'm like, yeah.
Imagine being with him every day.
Yeah. What's happening, Kelly? World's greatest living artist right here. Done it again. I think Lisette's here, huh?
Yeah, who's that?
Look at that. Your little baby.
Hey. Hey, Marcel.
Check it out. So beautiful. Look at this painting. How'd it go, mijo? Good. Jose, I'm gonna copy your style and make millions. Go for it. Go for it. I just cooked hamburgers in the air fryer.
Share the money with us, please.
Yeah.
Million sounds nice.
I love that. Tasty as hell. In the air fryer. Odele. Odele. Look at that. Look at that. Welcome to the team. What do they say? Who said that right now? How's it going, Monte? Tony says, Jose, I'm gonna copy your style and make millions. Welcome to the team, to the group. I feel like there's already quite a few artists. Tony, you're gonna have to compete with the other artists who are also copying my style. You have to fight for it.
We stayed here till like 11 on Friday so that I can move on. So this gets framed. If you wanna, thank you for.
Look at that.
If you wanna, I'll bring you the other painting. So this is framed. Before we package it, have us take images of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And they're gonna ship together.
Yeah.
I got him. Look at that. So I don't know if you guys joined me on my treadmill talk earlier, but I was talking about some really cool stuff. I was talking about some good stuff earlier.
I didn't put any, yeah, come and help you with that.
Do you have a plan before you start painting, or is it more intuitive? I do have a plan. I mean, I do say I'm going to make a landscape painting with a tree there and whatnot, but it's really intuitive. The whole thing is very intuitive.
Here, or you want to keep them back where they were? Or are you trying to shift it here?
Either way, the whole thing is very intuitive.
Yeah, because we need this.
As a matter of fact, the more you think about it, the harder it gets. In this approach, right? In this style.
Okay, when you're ready to push it back, let me know.
When you're doing a style like this, it's very. I think it's very important to not think about it so much. But you know, I think it's different for everybody. Some people do like to plan out their painting, and then that works nice too. For me, I don't. I plan very little. That seems to work. That seems to work for me more and more. By the way, for those of you who are interested in a commission by me, I am offering my 16 by 20 commissions. It's a little smaller than this. Just a little smaller. For $400. Okay? Free shipping anywhere in the US. That's a $1,900 painting any other time when I'm not doing my commission specials. It costs $1,900. But I'm doing it for $400. Look at that. Let's see, I guess for colors, are you thinking contrasting colors next to each other? Yeah, I mean, I guess I am thinking, but it's very subtle. It's not... okay, because you had asked a question. Do you have a method for color application, complementary? Yeah, I mean, look, I'm going to be honest with you. I did a lot of thinking years ago. I think in the beginning you have to do a lot of thinking because you're learning. It's kind of like driving a car, right? Especially a stick shift. But any car, you do a lot of thinking. There's a lot of thinking happening, you know? What is it? Is it clutch, brake, where? Oh my God, I'm driving. Oh, you know, rear view mirror, on and on. But that's just in the beginning because you're learning about the colors. You're learning about the color theory and all of that. And so, yeah, there's a lot of thinking. When people skip that, usually skip the thinking part, their colors become very muddy, and it's not because there's nothing wrong with muddy colors, but they don't know how to handle them. And so I always encourage artists to learn some ABCs when it comes to just like if you were a musician, you want to learn a little bit about notes, or practice a lot. If you're not going to know about notes, you got to practice a lot, so that you become better at playing the instrument. Either way, you're gonna have to practice a lot. Doesn't matter what route you take. But there was a lot of thinking years ago. There was a lot of thinking. About 20 years ago, I did a lot of thinking about color and painting and placement and all of that. But not anymore. And so I when I talk about like just intuitive, I'm not talking about just driving and like I'm doing this automatically, because it's not repetitive. I'm not trying. It's not the same scene that I repeat and I repeat and I repeat. Some artists do that. No, it's there's a level of trust because there was work put in there. There's years and years of work, so there's a level of trust that everything's gonna be fine. And what I found out after years and years and years of practice is that you don't have to go through years and years and years of practice to trust it. You really don't. To begin to trust. You can begin to trust right away. Without all that practice. That's what I started learning. And that's what I teach, right? You don't have to wait to begin to practice, to begin to trust. All you got to do is paint sort of with your eyes closed. Not literally. But pretend that you don't really know what's going on. Play as a child. Pretend that you don't really know what's going on. You don't really understand. And good things start happening when you don't understand much. Look at that. Yeah. Children draw and paint with trust. Yeah, overbrushing is always an issue because because when you're starting out, or when you don't trust yet, not even when you're starting, but when you don't trust yet, you don't trust yourself. There is an overbrushing, not to overbrush, There's an overbrushing because you feel like it's not good enough. And so you go back to it, and you go back to it, and you go back to it. It's a mindset that you're trying to fix the painting. You're quote unquote trying to fix the painting. But when you paint from a trust angle, when you're trusting like a child, there's nothing to fix. So every brush stroke is almost like it was supposed to be there. You see, I move. I make a brush stroke, and then I move because I trust that it was supposed to be there. I'll come back to it. But I won't come back to the same brushstroke like, I have to make it better. No, I come back to it to complement something next to it or something on top of it. But I'm not trying to make it. I'm not trying to make it good. I'm not trying to make it good. And so this is a problem that some artists who, when I'm teaching this, I realize that I see their paintings. Artists that are either learning through my YouTube videos or learning through my subscription. I see they make that mistake that I see that a lot. That they're looking at my painting like if it was something that you have to learn, and though they look at it like they think of it as it's intuitive. But they're learning from me, like if it's something that is, if I do that, if I do like this, like they're trying to learn a technique. And so at the end of the day, they're painting, and it kind of looks like mine, but it's a technique. They're doing a technique. And that's fine. That's fine for learning, but that's not going to take you far. as an artist if you don't keep moving out of that technique. Like don't make it into something. Don't make it into a technique, because you defeat the whole purpose of intuitive. The whole purpose of intuitive is that it's not a strategy, it's not a technique, it's not something that you plan out and that you have to. It's not a Bob Ross painting, in other words, right? It's not like if I do the brush, if I do the spatula this way, it's going to give me that effect, and I want that effect that Jose is doing. I want that effect. That effect didn't come because I wanted it. That effect came out by itself. You know, it came out on its own, and I think that's what makes artwork so damn good, so damn beautiful. When things come out on their own, and I'm not doing things to make it look a certain way. It's the enjoyment of painting. Now this is very Bob Ross. It's the joy of painting. So yeah, that's how I look at this. It's gotta be a free flow, and it's a trust. And there is no trust if you don't do it enough. There won't be a trust. And trust is difficult, and it's easy to shatter. It's difficult to acquire and very easy to shatter. As an artist, if you stop painting for 2 or 3 days in a row and you're used to painting every day, you might miss trust right away. You might miss the trust. You won't shatter it, but you'll miss it. You're gonna have to paint 2 or 3 days or 2 or 3 weeks in a row before you start trusting yourself again. You can shatter your trust very easily. Isn't that crazy? I'm telling you.
They changed all the stuff,
On eBay, right?
and I can't see where bids are at.
Oh, I can tell you. Hold on. Give me a second, guys.
And if you go to like schedule, what's selling, all of that, it's not there.
All right, I'm back. Ian says, I love what you say about trust. It's the same for actors. Yeah, I've heard that. Actors talk about that. I've heard 1 or 2 actors mention that before also. Do you ever staple a wrinkled canvas, or you bought to tighten it? No. I just throw water behind it. All you got with canvases, all you gotta do, like right here in this corner, I just gotta throw water behind it. Throw some water behind it. If it's wrinkled. And if you throw a lot of water, it'll be tight as a drum. I usually don't do it in the beginning. I do it once the painting is dry. Usually. But it doesn't matter when, I guess it does. It doesn't really matter though for me when you do it. All right. Odelay, Odelay. Look at that tree. Cognitos, you hit the nail on the head. That's exactly what happens. Initial trust can come out of being naive. Once it is broken, one must construct it with bravery. Exactly that. Yeah, when you're starting out, it's easy to trust because you're as a child. You're naive. You don't really know what's happening. You don't know what you don't know, and so everything that you do, you feel like you have to Midas touch. The thing is that you're going through a growth period, and so whatever you think you're doing that you feel like you're doing so great, at some point you're going to go beyond it because you're going to want to grow and you're going to be unsatisfied. This is not everybody, but I would assume it's 99% of people do this. And then you'll break that. You'll break that trust because you won't no longer be naive. Now you're going to know. Once you start knowing, once you start figuring out that you're really not that good at painting as you thought you were when you started, you have to rebuild that trust again. Be very brave to rebuild that trust. It takes a lot of courage. All over again. That's when the job starts. The job doesn't start in the beginning because in the beginning you don't know what you don't know. So you think that everything you're doing, you have the Midas touch. You think that you're the shit, and it's because you don't know what you don't know. But once you start doing it more, there comes a point where you're like, oh shit, man, I really don't know how to do any of this. And it's almost better not to know, but you can't grow that way. You're gonna have to grow by realizing that you really don't know. Once you get to that point, it can become very painful because now the work really begins. The work begins when you realize you're not that good enough. You're not that good as you think you are, and now you have to put in the trust and trust in yourself. You really are good, but you don't think you are because you want to go to higher ground. You want to get better at painting or better at selling your work, or on and on and on, and that's where the weakness comes out of there. You're like, why don't I get more views? Why don't I get more? Why am I not selling more? Why am I not showing more? Why don't people like it more? Or why don't I like it more? And that's where you enter the purgatory of the artist. Getting out of that takes a lot of courage. You could get stuck years there. I know artists who've been there their entire career, can't get out of it because they never trained themselves to trust themselves. Trust is something real. It's no game. Painting is serious business. Pandora box, baby. Yeah, and that's the same with anything. Whether you are in the sales world, they call that the 90-day phenomenon. For 3 months, when you enter a new sales job, let's say you're selling cars or you're selling whatever, when you enter a new sales job for 90 days, you're going to be climbing super fast up for 90 days. This happens to just about everyone. 3 months into the job, because you don't know what you don't know, so you're breaking all the rules. You don't care. You're hungry, and so you make it work. And then you're gonna start trying to behave. You're gonna start thinking too much. You're gonna start calibrating your moves. You're gonna say, "Oh my God, no! Why should I reach out to that person? Why should I follow up with that person if they didn't even give me their number?" And in the beginning, you don't care. You're on do mode. This happens with anything. It's not just about painters. I see artists that I've coached artists before I started charging for coaching, and I've seen this over and over. They like what I'm doing. They get super excited. They start painting like this. They get excited. They start making sales, and then they start curbing down. And I'm like trying to lift them. Hey, what are you doing? But I can't really help them because they lose trust in themselves. And trust is an inside job. They lose trust in themselves. And I've seen it over and over and over again. I've seen it one too many times. They get super excited. They start selling. They go into this. They go on Etsy, or they go on eBay, or they start showing their work, and all of a sudden they decline. And they have to force themselves to make the necessary mindset shift. You have to make a mindset shift. Yeah, trust is an inside job. No one can help you with trust. No one, absolutely nobody can. You have to do it on your own, and you have to learn how to do it. And you have to know what triggers your trust too. For example, for me, what triggers my trust is if I don't show up to create artwork, it starts triggering my trust. If I don't show up with the same intensity day in and day out, it'll mess with my trust. It'll mess with it for 1 or 2 weeks. Anything that I'm not doing consistently and persistently, I will no longer trust it or trust myself that I can do it. It don't matter what it is. Be it diet, be it a painting, be it selling. It doesn't matter. Anything that you don't do it day in and day out. Because when you do it day in and day out, there's a trust. Because there's a buildup. There's a buildup. There's a buildup of energy. There's a buildup of energy that's happening, and so it's paying you a dividend. It's kind of like if you go to the gym and you're doing it every day, or you sign up to a format. You're like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, it's this. The other days are leg day or whatever, and you sign up to that, and you're doing it, and you've been doing it for 1 or 2 months consistently, and then you stop for 2 or 3 days or a week. Watch yourself not even trusting the machines or the treadmill or whatever. You won't trust it. You won't trust yourself. You're going to feel bloated. All kinds of shit start happening. And it's because you stopped. It is my idea, my way of thinking that you won't trust when you break a promise. And if you made a promise to yourself to do this every day, or to market your work, or to, not a promise like I promise, I pinky swear. No, like if you told yourself, you know what, I'm going to do a painting every day, and then you don't do it, you're breaking that promise. And every time that you chip away from that promise that you made to yourself, your trust level goes down. The trust starts coming down really bad, to a point where you completely kill your trust. And every time you see your paintings, you might see them ugly. More abstract than normally. Yeah, probably. I don't know. But that's that, my friends. Hope that makes any sense. One could argue breaking your own trust is worse than having a broken by someone. Oh yeah. No, breaking your own trust is everything. It's the worst thing you can do to yourself. There's a very good entrepreneur out there. His name is Ed Milet. He talks about trust. He calls it promises. I think he's Christian. That's why he talks about it like promise. He's the one who I heard mention first this concept. Then I saw other people, but he was the first one that I heard talk about this concept of promise. He says that your success is predicated based on the promises you keep to yourself. So any promise that you break to yourself, not to others, to yourself, it chips away from your personal success, whatever your success is, whatever you consider yourself to have success in. Whether it's going to the gym, making paintings, selling paintings, it don't matter what it is. It's tied into your promise. You made yourself a promise of, I'm gonna jump on the treadmill, or I'm gonna go to the gym and lift weights for this many hours a week. And the moment that you don't do it, you all you're doing is you're just fucking with your trust. You're not doing anything to your body, you're messing with your trust. Your self-belief, it's the hardest thing to acquire. This is the kind of stuff that I talk about when I'm mentioning to artists, put in the work, because put in the work gets your trust to a very high level. It's been my experience that nothing makes your trust better than putting in the work. The work alone lifts you. So that's it right there. All right, my friends. Well, this is it for right now. I will come back later and do another live session. Hopefully you guys enjoy this painting, enjoy this talk. Let me show you the painting. That way you guys can see what I've been doing here. Sometimes it's good to treat being an artist like a job. Imagine if a bus driver didn't show up because of motivation. That's exactly it. That is exactly it. Too many of us don't treat it like a job, and that's the problem. That is the problem. All right, my friend. Take care. I'll talk to you guys later. Stay well and sophisticated. Peace out.